Hey everybody, this is Kerry with the weekly dose of celestial poetry that I invite you to unpack, interpret, and use as a lens to view your own experience. This is a diverse world with a landscape populated with willful beings. Jyotish Vedic astrology is a navigational tool that we use to illuminate possibilities and to answer questions. So let's look ahead at the week of March 15th through the 21st. I'm going to start with some thoughts and a general overview. Then I'll move into looking at each day specifically, and then I'm going to end with a couple of announcements about other things I offer. So, just to get an overview. This is going to be one of those weeks that's also not easy. It's been just seems like it's ramping up every single week, and I don't think it's going to get better this week. So if you look at this chart over here, and I do have a video out that teaches you how to look and interpret at these charts. I'll put a link here for that. So in this chart, we move around clockwise. You can see the signs are listed. They're noted on the squares. And I would say since last May, June. Okay. After May, we had kind of all the outer planets had moved over the spring, and we were sort of set by June. So let's say since last June, there is an emphasis on the signs of Aquarius and Pisces. And that is going for about a year and a half until about November of 2026. So why this emphasis is there is because of Rahu being in Aquarius since late last May, May 2025, and Saturn being in Pisces since March of 2025. So Saturn stays in a sign for a while. He's going to be there until February of 2028. And Rahu will be in Aquarius through about November of this year, 2026. So those two planets together create quite a bit of energy. They're adjacent signs. Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac, and Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. And then we move over into Aries as the first. So with these two kind of heavy hitter planets sitting in the penultimate and ultimate signs of the zodiac for a year and a half, next to each other, just as a big read, it feels like Aquarius tells us, hey guys, this is the structure and the gain that we have built over a long time. And with Rahu sitting in there, and by the way, Aquarius is co-ruled by Rahu and Saturn, both of those planets. So the Saturn part tends to be stable and long-term goal-oriented and one step at a time, whereas Rahu tends to be chaotic and unpredictable and full of desire and mind-changing a lot. So we get to where we're going by both of those things, by planning and putting one foot in front of the other, and also by reading the signs in the weather pattern and pivoting when we need to do that. So with Rahu being in Aquarius, a long-term foundational sign that indicates things we've built over a long time, Rahu going through Aquarius is tending to really cut down a lot of the instabilities that have inherently been built in or baked into our big systems and maybe in our personal internal systems. So, it feels like, hey, the structures are threatened with Rahu being in Aquarius. And that's a year and a half of us negotiating that or navigating that. Saturn going into Pisces. Pisces is the final sign of the zodiac. It's where things end and everything dissolves and the things that are going to move forward kind of flow into the next sector, and a lot of other stuff just goes away. So big picture, Rahu in Aquarius, Saturn in Pisces, it feels like a lot like we're breaking a lot of things that maybe needed to be broken. But it's also really destabilizing and chaotic and hard. So that's kind of a big picture. And we have all these planets grouped up in those two signs right now, this whole month, and Rahu and Saturn for a year and a half. But this happens to be the season where all the sun moving into Aquarius and now into Pisces, as this is Sunday morning, the 15th. The sun, you can see at 0 degrees 44, just moved to Pisces on Saturday the 14th. So with the sun moving, that implies the inner planets also moving. Venus happens to be leading the pack right now. So Venus is there, Sun is there, visiting with Saturn. And pretty soon we're going to have Mars moving out of Aquarius and into Pisces. And this week, retrograde Mercury is going to go direct. We're also having a new moon. It seems like, yes, things are shifting, but I would say the big energy of last week was Mars moving up and conjoining with Rahu on Friday the 13th. That is very explosive energy. As you're probably aware, there's a lot of warlike stuff going on in the world. There's a lot of unaccounted for aggression that seems to be for no kind of solid reason. It is very Rahu-y kind of energy. And so when Mars and Rahu come together, it can be very explosive. It's a lot of hot firepower energy, which is Mars, in sort of a willy-nilly disbursement way of that Rahu does. It's very chaotic. The other thing is, I've noticed through the years that when Rahu and Mars get together, we can get seismic activity. Like I know there's always seismic activity, but I've just been checking out the pictures from Hawaii, the Kilauea volcano going off. And so that to me is also that Mars-Rahu energy. So as of this moment, Mars has moved past Rahu and right into planetary war with retrograde Mercury. So we talked about two planetary wars last week, Mars and Mercury and Saturn and Venus. So at this very moment that I'm making this, we're having that Mars retrograde Mercury war. Mars is going to keep moving on, and Mercury is going to keep going retrograde for a few more days, and then stop and go direct exactly where Rahu is. So, and then the moon, look at the moon, moon's in Capricorn, starting on Sunday, and it's moving in through this whole zone of Aquarius and Pisces through this week. So it starts outside of the zone, goes through the zone, and ends on Saturday in Aries. So I've been saying there's 1 week a month here that we're all going through where it's going to be very intense. Well, it's already been very intense. So I think it's going to be very intense. All right, so other let's say good news. The big helper planets, Venus and Jupiter. Venus has moved past that Saturn conjunction, and it's moving toward the late degrees of Pisces where it becomes exactly exalted. Exalted planets function really well. They can really do their job. Venus's job is compassion, empathy, diplomacy, taking care of people, feeding people. Anybody could use some of that right now. Jupiter also last week went into direct motion. It kind of seemed like Jupiter was on vacation for about 4 months. You can think of Jupiter as one of the great helpers. We're talking in the form of doctors and lawyers and judges and legal experts, teachers, educators, right? So Jupiter's finally gone direct. Hopefully that will, you can even see, in the United States court system, there's a lot of rulings that are rolling out pretty quickly at this point, which could be helpful. So what else? Okay, so big picture, right? Rahu, who's the real strong one right now. It's sort of driving the ship. It's kind of like this crazy drunk driver driving the whole entire boat. And Rahu is a very worldly energy. It's like all the people in the world, the masses. When we're looking at our personal chart, it feels like Rahu shows things that happen to us that we didn't really plan for or account for or we couldn't avoid. It feels like the world happening to you. So the world is happening to all of us really hard right now. So what do? I mean, we have to just weather it. We can't plan for every eventuality. There are surprises that come. So always opposite from Rahu is Ketu over there in Leo. You can kind of see the two outlier planets are Jupiter and Ketu. Everybody else is clumped up this week. So Ketu tends to be that spiritual energy, the internal energy. How can I sit down and meditate here for a moment and calm down and figure out what I can deal with or not? So that's K2 energy. And then Jupiter over there is the other, like, look for that. It's kind of like sit down and learn your way out of this is the answer this week. We have to do what we have to do, but those might be the two pieces of advice that we can all work with. All right, let's go for our day-to-day look. The moon is waning, meaning it was full and now it's getting closer and closer to the sun. Every day we see a little bit less of light from the moon. So we've gotten into the phase of the moon that's called the dark moon. And on Sunday, the moon will start out the day in Capricorn, and specifically in the nakshatra of Shravan. And the other thing that happens on Sunday is that Venus moves a little bit further down the line out of Uttarabhadra nakshatra and into Revati, which is the final nakshatra of the zodiac, and it's where Venus becomes exalted. So for whatever reason, that feels like to me that that we have to start figuring out a way to manage this chaos, and that could be helpful. Okay, so Venus is good. Moon is starting to go into the fray. And my words for today are cautious listening. So with the waning moon, the energy of the moon gets lower. Our physical and mental energy kind of wanes as well. Saturn ruling Capricorn implies we're moving forward, but we're doing it cautiously. So cautious listening. The symbol for Shravan is an ear. So that idea of taking it in and listening. So cautious listening. May not be the day for huge action, but I would say if you feel confident about something, you can do small bits on Sunday in a very structured way with a very long view, and have compassion for all of that, like for yourself and for everybody else. It's not the day to say, well, yeah, I just got to fire this guy. No, just small things, one step, cautious listening. Okay. Let me get us forward to Monday. All right, Monday is the 16th of March, and now you're seeing the moon in the fray. It's surrounded, it just got into Aquarius at the very beginning of Monday. This is Dhanishta Nakshatra, which spans between late degrees of Capricorn into Aquarius. So it's a powerful, energetic nakshatra. And we think about strategy, and we think about maybe not the time for starting things, because again, we're running into the new moon. It's sort of a wind down period. So calm, strategic calm. That's what I'm saying for Monday. The moon's getting weaker, and it's going to just get closer and closer with that grouping of Rahu, Mars, and Mercury, which throughout the week, it's a clump. Hard to navigate through all of that. So strategic calm. You maybe took a small step on Sunday. You're going to maybe do another small step on Monday. But be strategic. Don't just run off the cliff and make the biggest leap of your life. That's not what Monday's for. Okay, Tuesday. Tuesday is, oops, see, I did. Hold on, hold on. Mercury, he's so funny. He just wants to go, hold on, I'm going back. I pressed run instead of one one thing at a time. It's a sign. See what happens? All right, so Tuesday is the 17th of March. This is Shatabishak Nakshatra, moon in Shatabishak. And that is also where Rahu and Mercury are. And it is a very dynamic nakshatra in a very dynamic sign. I think we're going to be feeling the energy of Shatabishak even after Mars is gone and Mercury has gone, because Rahu is still going to be there for a few more months. So honestly, I just don't see anything settling down real quick in the world. So one day at a time, and focus on the things you can control, which is basically breathing in and breathing out at this point. So Shatabishak, this is a good internal day. Again, we've got the moon is waning, the energy's draining, and this is kind of a looking in feeling to me on Tuesday rather than going out and being public and things like that. So it'd also be a really good day for like medical stuff. If you have to do a medical thing, like going to the doctor or having a procedure done, I feel like it's going to be a hard day anyway, right? So why not find the healing energy? Words for Tuesday are internal peace. So bring it in, find your own peace, because you're not going to find it out there in the world. So I'm not saying escape. I'm not saying just drive into your addiction zone or anything like that. But it's more about just like finding your internal calm and peace on Tuesday. Mars is still really strong and still really near Rahu, and this is Mars's day. So you don't destroy what you're building. All right, Wednesday, the 18th of March, and this is the moon. You can see on Tuesday really runs through the Rahu, Mercury, Mars clump. That's Tuesday. That's why I'm saying be careful. Wednesday, moon has gone past that clump. This is Purva Bhadra Nakshatra. This is one that spans between Aquarius and Pisces. And this is the new moon day. This is the final wane of the moon. And through the day, right, the moon's going to go over that border between Aquarius and Pisces and start getting close to the sun and then close to Saturn. So our words for today are complete pause. Wednesday may not be the day to go out and do everything. We still have that retrograde Mercury. Look at the degrees of Rahu and Mercury there. They're like right there. So, yeah, maybe it's not the day to do all the big things. Just complete pause. Take care of yourself. Lighten your schedule. That's Wednesday. All right, let's go to Thursday, the 19th of March. And so this is an interesting day. So from this amount of time, you're going to see the moon has already moved past the sun. So technically the new moon is Wednesday. And it's going to depend where you are in the world. If you're in New York versus Delhi, like that's going to be different. You have to look it up at your own location to see exactly when that moment of the new moon will be. So Thursday the 19th is interesting. So it's the day after the new moon of March. And in some cultures in India, this counts as a new year. It's called Ugadi. And so if the last two new years didn't work for you in February and January, then you got another chance here. It's a good time to start things, but also plan deeply. Like again, we're not just frivolously starting things, especially with all my other keywords from the week. We're always a little careful with new starts. Yes, the new moon is the time to, let's go. But we don't necessarily need to bolt out of the gate and run over anybody. So words for Thursday are stable start. Stable start. Like think it out, get grounded, look at your long term. And again, going back to that, what are we losing in Pisces? What is dissolving? What needs to drain out? And what structures do we want to hold on to and keep as we go forward? So Aquarius structures, long-term structures, Pisces, imminent dissolution, right? We can't just keep everything all the time. And so there's a big kind of worldwide feeling of this right now through mid 2025 through the end of 2026. So we're part of the world. It might not be that we're the ones making the decisions for the entire world, but we each have our own life. So what do you want to keep? What do you want to drain? Stable start on Thursday. All right, Friday is the 20th of March. Okay, so this is kind of exciting. Mercury goes direct on Friday, the 20th. This is the beginning of the day in the US, so you can still see that underline under Mercury. So it's starting out the day, still in retrograde, but then it's going to go direct. And again, look at those degrees. Rahu and Mercury exactly conjunct as Mercury goes direct. So I think it's going to be a very wild week, quite honestly. This is Revati moon. The moon is with Venus actually up in Revati. This is Friday, Venus's day. So there does seem to be some outpouring of compassionate energy with that Moon-Venus combination. It's good for art. It's good for taking care of yourself. There's a luckiness actually to this day. So we're still building slowly. We have our long-term goals, and we're looking for a more secure and bright future, right? That's kind of what I think is a collective feeling right now. So inspired connection for Friday, inspired connection. Reach out to somebody, connect with your own goals and plans as you let go of those dissolving things. Realize that you're going forward. We're all going forward. So that is Friday. All right, very end of the week, the 21st of March. This is also vernal equinox. Vernal equinox. This is the beginning of spring. You can see the sun is at 6 degrees, 43 minutes Aries. I don't know. The vernal equinox might be on the 20th or 21st this week. It varies from year to year. You can, again, go look that up for your local spot. The sun at about 6 degrees Pisces is the beginning of spring. That's the big divergence with the Western astrology zodiac and the Vedic sidereal zodiac is that the Western view of spring equinox is that the sun is at 0 degrees Aries, like period, end of sentence, which was true a long time ago, 1500 years ago or so. But there's this big drift called the precession of the equinoxes, which has these two zodiacs diverging. So that's kind of why I picked Vedic astrology all those 30 some years ago, because I was really, I wanted it to match astronomy. I wanted it to match what I was seeing in the sky. So we're still, this big long drift creates the great ages like age of Aquarius, etc. We're still in the age of Pisces. As long as the sun is in Pisces during that vernal equinox, we're in the age of Pisces. So wait 400 or 500 more years, we'll be in the age of Aquarius. So back to Saturday. This is Ashwini Nakshatra. So the week is bookended with the moon waning in Capricorn and then waxing in Aries. So it could feel like, yes, it's a very active week in between all of that, but by the end of the week, we might feel like we could get out of this somehow. Ashwini gives us very high-paced, fast energy, and it's good for traveling and going places and haircuts and getting jewelry and looking better. So with all of that said, maybe don't just rush into everything. You still want that strategy and the planning and the step-by-step stuff we've been doing all week. So don't wreck it all by just running out and going crazy. So just keep on track, but it could feel a little inspired. It could feel like, oh, wow, I do know where I'm going. And Ashwini has a lot to do with healing. And so healing movement is our word for Saturday. Healing movement. We're moving, we're getting better, we're going toward a good goal. So, all of that said, that's what I've got for the week. I've been talking about doing online classes and everything, and I'm still thinking about that. I've been, with all the chaotic energy, I am also subject to that. So I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, and I don't want to get into anything too much. So I'm creating a very basic online class. And I'm also going to go back to, and some of you who watch these were in these classes. I was doing a monthly class for a while. And so I'm going to go back to the monthly class, and I'm going to also create that really basic, probably 8 to 10 lessons of a really beginner level stuff. And then I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to do one class at a time, and etc. So once I have actual dates and costs and everything like that, probably by next week, I'll send you to that information. What else? This is kind of random, but I've been thinking about doing retreats lately. One of the other things I do is I run and manage, own my local yoga studio, and this very beautiful place that I live. I live in Estes Park, Colorado. Mountains, beautiful. And I've been thinking about, like, hey, I should do retreats here. Nobody else is doing yoga retreats or any kind of meditation or spiritual retreats. So drop me a comment. Would you be interested in something like that? Would you come to this beautiful place? I'm also a nature person. I'm like an earth-based person. I know all the nature stuff. I hike and I do all those outdoor things. And so I could really show people around, as well as give a great experience with yoga, meditation, and throw even some astrology in if people were interested in that kind of thing. So let me know. This is my informal survey of that. Okay, that's it. That's all I've got for you guys this week. Please take care of yourselves. You can only do what you can do. And let's stick together. We'll make it through this. All right. Take care.